Hey, I'm Toxie Hayes, and welcome to another week here with us on the Gamkeepers of Mossy Oak. Today, we're going to travel across to the other side of our great state, to the wildlife-rich Mississippi Delta. Our guest is the one and only Johnny McWright of Delta Ag, who's one of the foremost authorities in the entire country on both soil fertility and plant nutrition, a true gamekeeper. No matter what your level of expertise is on food plots, I promise you're going to learn something, because every time I'm around him, I always do. So stay tuned. The Gamekeeper starts right now.
To me, being a gamekeeper means having a place where I can put my grandchildren on our golf cart, and we can ride through the woods and we can see deer feeding and turkey feeding, and nobody's running off scared they're going to get shot. I don't want to say it's a zoo, but it's feeding, taking care of the animals that are here. And to be honest with you, that's our first priority. So our second priority has to be taking care of the land and taking care of the timber and that kind of thing, so that we have everything right for the deer and for the turkey. So we're all about having healthy animals that enjoy their life just like I enjoy mine. I am the owner and founder, I guess, and manager of Delta Ag Formulations. We started in 1976 doing soil testing and plant tissue testing, and built up a really rather large consulting firm, primarily in the Southeast, working in row crops. But it evolved over time, and never planned on being in the formulating business. It just sort of evolved into that because we kept finding what we felt like were needs that weren't being filled by others, and it just sort of evolved into a full-fledged formulating and manufacturing company. Our products are used on golf courses. They're used on in wholesale nurseries, commercial greenhouses, sports facilities, that type of thing. And then, of course, our row crop business, which we've always had, which deals in soybeans, cotton, corn, wheat, rice. But our business is also growing real fast in what we call the commercial vegetable industry now. So the truth is, and we use this expression from grass to trees and everything in between, and it's really come to that. It's really pleasingly surprised me how well it's grown and how well it's been accepted really over the last 8 or 10 years as compared to the 25 years before that, and fighting to try to make people understand, you know, there's an awful lot to plant nutrition. There's a whole lot more to it than just lime and phosphate, potash, and nitrogen. People laugh at me, but I tell them there's a huge difference between dirt and soil. And think of dirt as something that would come out of a pit 6 foot deep, or soil that has very little microbial activity and when I say microbes, I'm talking algae, bacteria, actinomycetes, mold, yeast, fungus. All of that stuff has to be in there to help compost old residue and to help to convert these fertilizers that we buy and apply. They have to be converted to an available form for the plant to use them. The long and the short of 30 years of fooling with this is I found I can tweak the plant's ability to respond better to the fertilizer than I can tweak the fertilizer to make it more available to the plant. And that's the chemistry that we use at Delta Ag. I've been blessed. I just have fun. I don't know. Soil pH is, honestly, it's probably the most critical factor in growing any plant that there is. It cannot be overemphasized. We've got a food plot on this place called the Log and Cut that was put in 3 years ago, I believe, or 4 years ago when we thinned our pines. And we deliberately have not limed that plot. That plot is a pH of 4.8. If you look at it, frankly, compared to our other food plots, and looking down through there, you might think it looks pretty good, but if you look under my feet, it's thin. It hadn't grown up as much. The oats are not heading yet. The clover hasn't survived very well. Well, it's got low minus phosphate and potash levels. It's got a very, very acidic pH. And we left it because we wanted to run some tests to find out how effective can we be with the Delta Ag products. We've done everything in the world out here. The truth is, we have to be very, very, very persistent and particular about how we prepare the seed bed. We put soil solution on it. It has had soil solution, other than test spots. Most of it's had soil solution on it every year for 4 years, which has helped it tremendously. We put the seed coat on the seed when we plant, and as soon as it comes up, we hit it with our plant power. The other thing that we've done is we've used our Calcium Plus at a ½ gallon rate per acre over the top, right behind the seed, and shallow, trying to help the soil water pH to try to trick the plant into thinking it's in a better environment. I would wager to say that this is probably as healthy as you're ever going to get any food plot without bringing the pH up. My plant manager, David Reed's been with me for I think 10 years. He farmed for 30. He grew up on a farm, on a cotton farm, and he's raising cane with me because I will not let him lime that 4 acres, but it's because I'm trying to make a point, and I also use it for research to show people what we can do when you don't have lime. And I want to say this, in my opinion, there's no such thing as liquid lime. People say, well, I can't get a truck in there to lime it. I say, cut trees down, widen the road, and get a liming truck in there. And it sounds harsh, but that's how critical it is. You don't have to get the pH up to 7. I think that's a misunderstanding by a lot of people, because the soil test will tell you what the pH is, and then there's a second test that tells them how much lime it takes to bring that pH to 7. We don't have to have it at 7. But my gosh, let's get it above 5.5 if at all possible. And in the hills of Mississippi, the hills of Alabama, the hills of Arkansas, and Tennessee, and Missouri, and we work all over. This ground, when it's newly cleared and untouched, the pH is going to range somewhere between 4.6, and if you're lucky, it might be as high as 5.2. It has to be lined. Who would understand this? But I don't go to work every day. I go to who I am every day. And I mean, I thrive on the thought of being able to help somebody to have a more productive farm, or a more productive food plot, or a more productive garden. I mean, I just enjoy helping folks, and I've been real fortunate. People pay me to do that. That's a nice thing too. I don't mind that at all.